Hey yo, what's up, duds? I'm Solicitous Fox, and yeah, we're back after 4 months, and who cares what happened? So let's just get started, shall we? Okay, so now we're doing Ultra Danganronpa Heaven of Despair. If you already see the title, so this is the Killing Order predictions, the Killing Order, the predictions, who's gonna die, whatever, killer, victim, whatever, mastermind, all that kind of stuff in this video right here, right now, in PowerPoint presentation, except with no presentation. I just did this for the format, so we're gonna do things differently. I can't talk anymore. So we're gonna be doing things differently. I'll show you once we get started. So here's the promotional arts he showed. His Discord's in the description of where everything he shows. If you want to stay updated to everything he's been doing, it's a good one. And so are a bunch of ones, but we're gonna be focused on this one right now. So here you go. Blah 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 blah. It's actually pretty good. So it's neato. All right. So how we do things? Oh, first off, let's start a new slide, and let's change this layout blank. All right, so this hurts my eyes. Okay, so oh, hold up, I need to add all the pictures right here. Boom, 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 and then this here's how things will work. We're gonna be separating through each chapter, and oh my god, that is super lag. Oh Jesus, that's huge. I'm gonna shrink that down. Is that good? A little bit more. Alright, so we're going to go through each chapter. We're going to be dividing each student into whether they be killer or victim. And yeah, we're going to just keep doing that. Just going to bring those up here. Boop, 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 boop. I don't know, I might as well just organize them. Alright, so while we do this, we should talk a little bit. Let's see. We'll start in chapter 0. Obviously, it's possible that there will be a chapter 0 death. Essentially, it's not going to be one of the main character cast, but it's possible that one of the students might die in the chapter 0, which there was a chapter 0, but I doubt something like that would happen because, you know, that kind of stuff is just not my kind of stuff. It'd be boring if like one of like super main characters would die like so early on. So essentially, I doubt any of these characters would die in chapter 0, but it is still possible that someone we might not know, maybe like a third party member would be shown to die. Maybe Saiban Kuma would kill them just to show these people it's like, hey, I'm in charge here. I can kill you easily, so play along out that much, just like in the other Danganronpas where they killed the principal in the first game. They killed what was her Monami in the second game in chapter 0, just to show his power and stuff. And yeah, that's possible that they can do that here, although I'm really relying on if there's actually a chapter 0 death. So yeah, let me just organize these a little bit, and then we'll get started in chapter 1. Okay, so everything perfectly organized, just like all things should be, and we'll get started with the chapter 1. Chapter 1. This is 11. So chapter 1. Yep. So in chapter 1. So how are we gonna do this? Well, we're gonna try to do it cliche-wise. So basically, in the first Danganronpa, second Danganronpa, and third Danganronpa, we're gonna base the killings off of those. Basically, I say basically a lot. So basically, everything that happens in the original trilogy of the Danganronpas would try to apply here. For example, if in the first 3 games, the killer of chapter 1 is a female with blue eyes, then in this game, I'm gonna predict that someone with blue eyes is the killer for chapter 1. Of course, it's not true, but that's how this layout's gonna work out. So I'm gonna add the little things for right here, what I think for the chapter 1 killer is, and who I think the victims are for chapter 1, and we're gonna put these onto here as we speak. So we're gonna go through each one and see if they belong in the killer and victims. So first one, Ray. I doubt I want to put Ray as one of them, just because he's not exactly someone to die in chapter 1. So we want to, how do I like make this red? I want to make this red shapes. I want to make it bigger, so we'll just do this lightning strike, cross that out. I doubt he's gonna going to be part of the chapter 1 killing, either victim or killer. I will cross out Aiko as well, just because, you know, we don't know much about her. She's possible that she might be a victim, but I doubt she'd be a killer, but I want to eliminate her as a victim. Those are probably the two main characters that I want to cross out. So how are we going to analyze the rest of these? Well, let's look back to the first few games. Let's talk about the victims first. So the victims in the previous 3 games has something to do with wanting to escape. So these, such as Mizuno wanted to escape to see, you know, her band group or whatever. Byakuya, Byakuya Togami wanted the whole group to escape, wanted to get everyone through and stuff, and then Rantaro obviously wanted to escape. So they're all means of people who wanted to escape the most. So who do we want to add to the victim group? So instead of crossing people out now, I'm going to drag people over there, since, you know, most of these are basically the side characters, aside from Ryunosuke and Kisumi is the big 2 factors right there, but we'll see. As the victims right here, people who want to escape the most, I would say Sayori, since she's the wannabe cheerleader. She wants to encourage everyone to escape, kind of like Kaede wanting everyone to escape, so it's kind of like that kind of vibe going. We can also get Rakuro wanting to escape, because in his bio it talks about him and his family. Something tragic happens and he probably wants to like get out and stuff, to like go see them and stuff, so he has the biggest family issue here. That's a big factor in wanting to escape. And let's see, if we want to do any of these people, it's possible you want freaking Shinji in there, but I doubt he would be the first chapter killer wanting to escape, so we want to eliminate him from that. And the rest of these people, possibly Kisumi, since she wants to help other people escape, but I also want to put her as killer. I'll tell you why later. These people, not so much. Actually, maybe Mocha? I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like, oh wait, what am I talking about? Victims. I don't know about Mocha being a victim. I think it's more like, I'm mixing this up. That's why. It should be this, oh crap, this way around. Can I grab you? Kisumi's up here and Rakuro's the killer. Okay, so I had things mixed up. What the heck? So Kisumi as being a victim wanted to escape. I was wondering, is like, why I have this mixed up. So forget what I said earlier. Kisumi is a victim because she wants to help the group out, just like Sarah and Kaede. So they're basically one and the same. I keep saying basically a lot. Oh my god. And then possibly Ryu as a possible victim, just because he wanted to escape and such. And yeah, I want to eliminate him early though, since it doesn't make any sense. So I kind of want to cross him out from the list of killers right there. Boom, lightning bolts. So as for the killers in the previous games, let's say the first chapter victims were Leon, Teru, and Kaede. So what do they all have in common? Well, basically they're all random. They're all unexpected. No one would have guessed Leon. No one would have guessed Teru. No one would have guessed Kaede. They were all completely random, out of the blue. So it makes sense if we just have random people just be the killer. But who would they be? It could be anyone. Any one of these people would be it. So I kind of skipped the first chapter killers and went on to chapter 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and whatever, and see which points in time with these people would be the best time to die, or whatever, be the killer, and who would survive and stuff. So I did the chapter 1 killer last, but let's just say right now, what else do Leon, Teru, and Kaede have in common? Honestly saying, not much. The only thing I could see the same being for all 3 of them is the reason why they were killed. They were involved with someone else. For example, Leon was involved with Mizuno, leading to him being a killer. Teru was involved with Nagito, which led him to being the killer, and Kaede was with Shuichi, and that led her to being the killer. So it's all about leading. So I'm thinking it's like, who's the person who's the most likely to be misled the most? And I feel like So now I know that Rakuro belongs here just because, well, since I talked earlier about his family, he'd probably be like the most lenient about it's like, hey, you want to see your family again? Just do this, blah, blah, blah. And then he'd just become the killer. The other person I would think be on this list would be Yumi. Reasons being unknown, but Yumi has that kind of personality, wanting to be friends with everyone, but then deep on the inside, someone's just like, I'm not your friend, or nah, just kidding. Yeah, I'll blend in on Yumi's little bio over here. Let me just scroll all the way up to that. So pretty normal. Everything about her being famous and whatnot, her optimism and such. She will obviously be an approachable character. People will want to talk to her that much, so she would have a lot more interactions with everyone. So that'll make her more plausible to talk with other people and such, and lead her to, like, you know, just them going like, hey, you should kill someone, whatever, because I'm doing this. And it's like, okay, I guess I have to kill and such. So that's why Yumi would be on there. And the last one I would do 3 for these ones, would be essentially Momoka. Now, I kind of want to remove Momoka from this. She's also unexpected, just like Ryu. There's no point in it, but compared to everyone else, Momoka would have the biggest reason to kill people, just because you know, she's the lonely type. She seems like the lonely type that won't be talked. So someone, let's say Natalie would come in and just be like, hey, Momoka, kill someone, and they would be alone. It's like, okay, yeah, boom, and then bam, someone's dead. But I want to remove her from the list just because you know, she's just because she fits the bill of the lonely and most likely to be talked to. I doubt she'd be the chapter 1 killer, because she plays a more pivotal role later on. Then that's why I did the chapter 1 killer last, and she would be like down here in the killer list. So I doubt she would be the chapter 1 killer. So that will leave these two and these two for the chapter 1 killers and chapter 1 victims. I should probably do this victim. There we go. So how will we narrow this down? Well, that's gonna be a toughie. As for we're gonna see which one's more cliche, since these two are basically practically one and the same. Keep saying basically. Oh my god. Well, they're one and the same, so it's really hard to tell which one would be the chapter 1 victim. Although, if I were to pick one, it would definitely be Kasumi as the chapter 1 victim, just because she has the most relatability to Byakuya, and having her resolve to have everyone escape compared to Sayori, a bigger resolve in a sense. Kind of reminds me of Kaede, so I feel like she's definitely someone who would be the chapter 1 killer. Also in her bio, is she the number 1? Yeah, since she's the number 1 on here, I feel like her role is either going to be very crucial, and she could be like a red herring. See, her quote gives me the biggest like death flag, saying is like, I'm not going to let anything take this dream away from me. So essentially that's the kind of stuff that I feel like would send her to the chapter 1 death, just because of her strongest will or whatever. But I don't see her as being a killer, just because she's very expected to die in the chapter 1. So I'll essentially put her as a chapter 1 victim. Now, as for the killer, which one of these is more likely to be a killer? Honestly, both would be expected. I mean, unexpected. But if I were to pick one, it would definitely be Yumi. Honestly, this saddens me the most, because I feel like Yumi's the best character for me. I love her so much with all my heart. But I would see her as being the chapter 1 killer. As her being the most unexpected, Rei would honestly be quite attached to her, just like how Naegi was attached to Sayaka Mizuno. Did we say her first name or last name? I don't know. So Mizuno, so it'd be really shocking and really a good idea, just saying wink wink, for Rei to find out that Yumi was the chapter 1 killer. If I were to go like through cliche reasons, Yumi, as I said in their bio before, compared to Rockro, is just like just straight up. We don't know much about him. He's a lone wolf. Just like I feel like he's like the lone wolf compared to Momoka. As if I were to be in it, they're both in the same boat. They're both lone wolves that would have someone talk to them or whatever to kill someone. But I dismissed the idea of lone wolf from Momoka, so I say the same about Rockro. And since Yumi's the complete opposite, having to talk to everyone. She's most likely to be talked to become a killer and whatnot. And yeah, that's chapter 1. 14 people. 14 people left. We'll get rid of these two since they're both gone. They're both dead compared to chapter 1, and we'll move on. Oh, I don't know why Saiban Kuma's here. We'll just leave him here. We'll leave him off to the side, and we'll head off to chapter 2. Ba-da-ba-da. Okay, so in chapter 2, we have the essential 14 students remaining. 14 remaining, we'll just do that. And so we have the 14 students right here. So how are we going to do chapter 2 right now? Well, after each chapter, I like to say what's the next motive that's gonna happen. What's gonna happen in each chapter. Well, in the previous chapters, an event happened. So basically, an event happens like in the second game. I don't remember how it was in the first game. I don't remember playing it that well. It was like a long time ago. But in the second game, Kazuichi and Hajime raided like a swim party with the girls. So something like that happened, and then so that was an event. And then in V3, and the chapter 2 event was the magic show by Himiko and Angie. And so I feel like something event-wise is gonna happen. Someone's gonna host something, and I feel like water might be involved, but I'm not so sure. So the event with several people. Now, of course, not everyone's going to attend, but some of these people are going to attend. Most likely, Ray, and then some other people. We don't know who. I doubt you're going to show up. You're not going to show up. You might show up. You probably show up. I don't know if these two would show up. Yes. No. Yes. Maybe not. Maybe so. Probably not, and probably not. So about half of the people will show up for the event, and well, it depends on if they're gonna show up to the event or not. So let's say someone hosts the event, half the people show up, and well, let's divide from there. So how's the I don't know, I want to switch these up because according to my paper they're like switched up, so I'm gonna like switch these up a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna shorten these, so I'll just stop getting in the way, and let's get started with the chapter 2 victim. So but I think that the chapter 2 victim is someone who, well, in my opinion, think that they want to escape. So the chapter 2 victims before were Chihiro Fujisaki, Mahiro, and Ryoma. They didn't really want to escape. There's essentially that they want to know something happened to them on the outside world. Like Chihiro, like he got in contact with his father and stuff like that. He wanted to do something about that, but that got him killed. And then Mahiro wanted to know about her previous life after playing the game, and that got her killed. And then Ryoma wanted to essentially skip with everyone technically and want to know about the people who love him in his life or whatever based on that motive video, and that got him killed. So it's gonna be someone who's directly attached to the outside world, the real world, the most. And so I divided that into wait a minute, what the hell? Okay, scratch all of that, man. Okay, so I was reading the wrong thing the entire time. So the victim is essentially related to their talents, and so their talents is what the victims is based off of. So I completely misread that. Oh my god. So the cause of their talent eventually was what led to their death. Something talent related or whatever. So in the first game, Chihiro's programming skills were called into question since he he hacked into the system to get everyone's motive thing, and then that essentially got him killed. My hero's photography led to Fuyuhiko confronting my hero and killing her. And then in the third game, Ryoma's past of being a tennis player and then killing the mafia and then having no one to love him also caused him to die in the victim. So that's kind of the biggest cinch I got here. So the biggest talent-wise talents that may cause their lives to be effective in here as well will essentially be Momoka. Since being the cultist, she would probably make a lot of enemies, and that might back to bite her. Essentially, Rokuro, because since he's the biker whatever racer. I still have this theory that in his actual life, some tragedy happened and that caused him to stop racing and stuff, and he's been living like that ever since, just kind of depressing and stuff, kind of like Momoka. And so I feel like his real life is what affecting him right now. That might come back to bite him. And Shinji is kind of like Momoka, might make a lot of enemies, and it's probably the business that his father runs is probably like, I don't know, might cause a lot of people going dead and lose their homes or whatever. And then essentially Rika. I'm gonna call that to question later why her mechanical skills is why she may be a victim in this sense. So let's move on to the killers, who I think the killers in the previous games, I feel like the killers has something to do with their family. Mondo Awada, his brother was involved in him trying to kill someone. So that's family related. And then there was Peko. It's not essentially family related, but she killed for Fuyuhiko. Essentially, they would have been family, if you know what I'm saying. What? But yeah, that's kind of like family related since they're part of the same Yakuza family or whatever. So that's kind of family related, so I'll take it. And then Kirumi, I wouldn't say it's family related, but it's like relationship cause. Like, I remember her saying in the trials, like, the whole country is mine, whatever, it's my whole family, all families, whatever. I don't remember the speech, but I remember something like that kind of center base. So I feel like family or like loving someone or whatever is like hugely considered in chapter 2 killing. So I only have 2 people known for this, and essentially one of them is Shinji. Shinji would also be part of this because, you know, family, his father owns a company, so that's family related. That's the biggest family relation here. But then there's also another one from the victims that I would see as a killer, and that would be Rokuro. And so obviously, since there's a victim and killer here, these two can't be a victim and a killer at the same time, so we can can't cross them out yet, but we can, like, if one of them's if Shinji's the victim, he can't be the killer, and same goes for Rokuro. Now, the reason why I'm gonna add these people as the victims and the killer, let's go by one. I doubt these two will be killed in chapter 2. It'd be too random. Let's see, Toaru, his talent isn't really a good factor in being a victim, nor we have anything about his family, so I doubt he could be a killer. Same goes for Sayori, although her talent might lead her to being a victim. I doubt she would be like a critical part of this yet. Same goes for Takashi, nothing about his talent or family is relatable, neither is Gota. Haru, it's Haru, right? Yeah, it's Haru. And Natalie, maybe it might leaner in, but compared to these four, she's a little bit less, so she misses just out. Same as for you and Miami. So I would essentially have this as a good solid list for potential victim and killers. So how do we decide which one would be a victim, which one would be a killer? Hold up. Jesus, man. And so the biggest reason I have on when choosing is how each one will fare with another. So basically, if Momoka would be a victim, which one would be a better killer? That's how I do one. If, of course, if Rokuro was the victim, it'd be Shinji, and vice versa. And if Rika was the victim, well, which one will most likely be the killer? Kind of like that situation, just like in Danganronpa 2, where Fuyuhiko killed Mahiro just because Mahiro was involved with the murder of Fuyuhiko's sister. So that's a good kind of relationship they had going on there, right? And so that's the kind of stuff here. So if Momoka was the victim, let's say her talent was she wanted to overthrow the government, and then the government would like stop putting funds in the hospital, and Rokuro has a sister in the hospital and the sister would die, then she would probably like Rokuro want to kill Momoka. Although I want to eliminate Momoka from being the victim just because I don't think her talent is enough to get her killed, because compared to the other three that we'll be talking about, I doubt she's a very critical one, so I want to eliminate her. So the second one I want to eliminate next is to essentially be Rokuro, just because his talent, all being just a racer and everything, although it has something to do with probably his history, I feel like that could also apply to him being a killer. So if I were to eliminate being a victor, there's still a potential that he might be a killer, so I want to eliminate him being a victim here. And so that leaves Rika and Shinji. Shinji, they're both very close contenders to being a victim. Both have talents that will essentially make them be victims. However, let's choose the killer first. So actually, let's pick them at the same time. What I feel like doing is this: removing Shinji as the killer and removing Shinji as the victim. So I would essentially choose that Rika be the chapter 2 victim and Rokuro be the chapter 2 killer. The reason that I did this is the kind of relationship they might have. Since Rokuro is a racer and all, and since Rika is a mechanic, I don't know if Guile changed that about Rika, about changing her from being a mechanical engineer to just being an engineer. So it's still possible that Rika, I think I talked about this before, I'm not sure, but Rika's talent kind of thing led to Rokuro having a dark past. So let's say, for example, Rokuro was like on a classic motorcycle and stuff, and then one day, like, I don't know, I keep bringing this up that Rokuro has a sister, so Rokuro lets his sister like on the motorcycle and such after like going to the shop and stuff and having the motorcycle repaired. But then once Rokuro's sister rides it, she gets in an accident, essentially either is in the hospital or dead. And so Rokuro blames the mechanic who did this, and he might like blame it on Rika. It's possible that Rika was the one who did it, although I doubt Rika would do something like that. But he'll probably like blame Rika for being an engineer for being the cause of the death of his sister or causing her to be in the hospital. So that'd be a good kind of relationship, kind of chapter killing thing that could be going on. So that's the kind of reasons why I put Rika as the victim and Rokuro as the chapter 2 killer. So let's reset here and move on to chapter 3. And here we roll back with chapter 3 with 12 remaining students, and yeah, let's try to figure out which one's the victim of the killer. So the chapter 3 event was not essentially an event, so the thing that would happen in chapter 3 most likely is probably an interesting discovery. So they discovered something very interesting. Let's see, chapter... the first game, what did they find? Oh yeah, they found alter ego, and that possibly led to a harsh motive for money, which is not exactly a harsh motive, but that led to the upbringing of freaking Celestia. And so alter ego was a discovery, and that led to essentially the deaths of 2 people. In chapter 2, let's see what happened. The discovery of the viruses, the diseases that happened, and that led to, well, it didn't lead to a harsh motive. That was the motive, but it essentially like was the main cause of the death. And in V3, what happened in I think it was the Necronomicon, which was kind of a discovery, not the biggest discovery, but it was something interesting that happened. So it was practically the motives that caused them. So it's another motive-based kind of thing. So I don't know what the motive would be for this one. It's different for every game, and it's completely random. So I'm not gonna guess on it, but I'm gonna guess in that it would drive people further. It might draw out something beneath them. So how would this fare in? So let's just say it's like motive based, and so this would like draw them out of the corner. So for example, if Miami was like a sweet angel or whatever, they're super nice all the time, but then the motive on the inside caused her to kill people just because you know, on the inside she's a serial killer or whatever, I don't know, and then she just wants to kill people because the motive told her to, and such like that. Just like in the second game, Mikan killed for her beloved because the motive caused her true feelings to come out. Celestia wanted the money, caused her feelings to come out, and then Korekio wanted to kill people because his true feelings came out. So basically, I would sort this chapter 3 based off their inner feelings, whatever. But essentially, since they're the cliche 2 victims for chapter 3, I think I should apply that here too, just because that's the norm. I doubt people would like have anything different, since basically every fan game and every game there's always been 2 deaths per chapter 3. So I feel like Guile might do the same thing. If not, then I got bamboozled. But we're just gonna try to do that here. So for the victims, I'm gonna pair them up, see how they're related to each other. For example, in the first Danganronpa, Taka and Hifumi, they both had different ideologies for alter ego. One of them they both wanted alter ego, but they both disliked having the other person having alter ego, so they didn't like each other whatsoever, and they tried clashing ideas. Same for chapter 2, Ibuki and Sanji. They were complete opposites. One of them was super like stoked about everything, one of them was like really like pissed off of everything. So they're kind of like polar opposites. And then Angie and Tenko didn't agree with Angie's ways, and Angie didn't agree with Tenko's ways, whatever, and so they both died. So basically different ideologies for each one. So when choosing the victim, I want to like pair them up, like Haru and Momoka together, instead of like choosing 4 random people and trying to pair them up. So people who have like opposite kind of, you know, ideologies and whatnot. And those 2 pairs I'm thinking about is, once again, I bring out Shinji as the victim along with Miami, since I see these 2 people being opposites, not essentially I wouldn't say essentially like personality wise, but maybe kind of, since Shinji favors the weak, probably like, oh, if they're weak, we should probably help them out, but then Miami's like, survival of the fittest, the weak shall die out. Something like that. So I feel like they're kind of opposites, and then the other would probably be Sayori and Momoka. You probably know why. One of them is kind of like depressing, the other one's always super cheerful. So I feel like those two are like complete opposites personality wise, which is why I put them on this victim list. And so for the killer, I said earlier, people who have like deep desires and such. In the previous games, we know that Celestia, Mikan, and Korekio were killers, and I feel like a basis for each and every one of them is that they kill for someone who's not there. So Celestia killed not for someone, for something, her dream that's on the outside of her being super rich and stuff. Mikan killed for her beloved, and so did Korekio. So I guess seeing Celestia killed for her love of money, I guess. What the heck is happening? Okay, so where was I? Killers. So people who would essentially we don't know much about. It could be somewhere around Aiko, involved around them, but I still doubt these two would be killers again. Although if they weren't like the two, I feel like they're the two most important characters, I would involve them a lot earlier. But for this one, I won't. So we don't know much about Toaru, so I'll put him there. We don't know a lot about Takashi, but since he's a memer, he's probably famous, so there's probably one of these people that knows him enough to know about him, so I doubt we don't know much about him. I think Goto would fall among them. I'm gonna say Haru, but I would say probably Natalie, and I would also say Ryusuke. And yeah, those are probably the four people that would put among them as the killers, and their identities is a little skewed. Okay, so now is the basis between which ones is good and which one isn't. So these two as the victims, or these two as the victims. I wouldn't put Miami with Sari or Momoka with Shinji just because they don't link together. So let's see, victim. I don't know if we want a basis between the victim and the killer, so let's just find out what the killer is so we can find the best pair for each. So the killer for each trial always had like in the previous games had like a cool voice or like a deep chilling voice. Like Celestia had like a different voice. Once she was found out a little bit, she changed her accent. Mikan changed her attitude and kind of her way of talking after she was found out. Korekio, same way for him. So who among these people will probably like have like a change in personality wise when they change? I feel like maybe Toaru maybe like fall down his scarf and like reveal their Korekio lipsticks or whatever, but I doubt that would happen. Something like that. I don't know if you have a good enough reason for him to be it, or his personality is good enough, so I will eliminate him. Goto is a little bit sus. There's a lot about him that we don't know, but since I feel like his personality will always remain the same no matter what, even if he's backed in the corner, so I doubt he would fall along the lines of this. Now that between Natalie and I feel like Natalie would have like be one of those, like she would turn her accent like from a Japanese one to an English one, American one, such like that. Something she wouldn't happen, probably something tomboyish, but don't know. I feel like Ryunosuke will also fall online, so it's between these two. So we need to find a different way to distinguish which one would be a good killer. So which one would probably be more selfish? Honestly, it can go either way. We don't know much about Ryunosuke. We know a little bit about Natalie. I feel like Natalie might do something that's a bit selfish and she has a dark side, but compared to Ryunosuke, I feel like Natalie's kind of attitude and her way of breaking might be a lot less than Ryunosuke. So I feel like the third chapter killer would possibly be Ryunosuke, just because he's a bit chilling, he's a little bit, offset. It reminds me of Nagito a little bit, so I feel like he's crazy enough to be one of those chapter 3 killers. So on to the victims. Which one would Ryunosuke, which pair would Ryunosuke kill? Put that back somewhere. Yeah, perfect align OCD. My eyes. Okay, so I don't know, which one would be a better pair to kill off? Would it be Shinji and Miami or Sari and Momoka? That'd be a little bit tough. I don't know what kind of races to go for. They're practically the same. One of them's good, one of them's a little bit bad. Although Miami, we're not sure about them. Don't know much information about any of these characters that well, so it's really hard to choose on this one. But if I were to choose one, it would have to be Miami and Shinji as the third chapter victims. I know the theory behind the chapter 4 victims, which is always the big guy, as you guys already know, but I want to dismiss that just because that's a very lame way of going through the killings, just having the obvious buff guy like be the fourth chapter victim or killer. I just want to put him on chapter 3 because that's what I kind of want to feel like. Yeah, it'd be pretty amazing if he survived to chapter 5, so it could pass that chapter 4 cliche of the big guy dying in chapter 4, but I'll put him at chapter 3 just because it matches Miami, and I don't think Miami would last that long just because of her, overall attitude and such. And then Shinji, I don't know if he can survive till chapter 5 too because of Ryunosuke's personality. We gotta eliminate all the good people because there's way too many nice heads already. Sayori, Natalie, and then we can't just have Shinji and Haru, and there's like too many good-hearted people. We need to start eliminating them, and so that's why that's not a good enough reason. But I just feel like these two would most likely be the victims compared to Sayori and Momoka, whatever her name was. So that's my valid reason, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. That eliminates this to 9, and that's it for chapter 3. So on to chapter 4 we go. Okay, so chapter 4 is going to be practically, I said basically again, god damn it. So, practically, it's going to be another discovery, but it's not going to be another, like, interesting discovery of, like, something lying around. It's going to be, I feel like there's going to be a discovery for, like, a student discovery. How I put in my notes. Oh my god, student, found. Whatever. It's not like a student who found. It's possible that they might find like a 17 student. I've said in my previous videos, it's possible that there's like another 17 student, just using 17 as an example. That there be a 17 student in there, and then yeah, something like that's gonna happen. Either they're the mastermind, the traitor, or a 17 student, and then one of these students is not an actual student or whatever. So I had theories on that. So it's possible that there is a 17 student. There's also the possibility that in chapter 4 it's not actually a student found, but like it's actually dun dun dun. The traitor is found, not found, but they find out that there's actually a traitor among them. We don't know who it might be, but for this video I'm going through the fact that there actually is a traitor and that there isn't a 17 student. So that's what I'm doing for this video. Oh my god, it got a little bit bigger. I don't know how to fix that. Whatever. So in chapter 4, they find out there's a traitor, no 17 students, so they start doubting each other. Everyone's like trying to isolate themselves, they don't trust each other, and then boom, they find something unexpected, kind of like chapter 3. Let's say in the first game, what did they find? They found alter ego in chapter 3. So what did they find in chapter 4? I forgot. They found something, but in the second game they went to, I feel like, I don't know, I think chapter 4 has something to do with like electronic related. And so like in the first game, alter ego was electronic related. That I don't know if that caused anything, but there's definitely electronics involved, kind of like electricity, the technology is involved. And then in the second Danganronpa, Mechamaru instead of Nekamaru, get it? Okay, we call him Mechamaru was involved, and then along with the clocks and the actual elevators and stuff. And then the third game, what was her name? Well, I forgot her name. The inventor, Miyu. There we go. Miyu was definitely involved in that virtual reality killing game, whatever. So that there was all those involved. So I feel like technology is involved in this. So to go through the. That's what I put for the possible fourth victim. So people who are most likely involved with technology, yeah, or also I put in the notes as someone that might be important at the time. So the victim was someone that was crucial at that moment. That was very important, and someone that can also, like, you know, just at that moment in time they were the center of attention. Like before they were just like simple side characters, but at that chapter 4 they were talked about a lot more. We know a lot more about them. They proved their talent a lot more. So that's the victim at that moment. So at that point I feel like it's possible that actually Ray might become a victim. I actually indicated that in my notes, that it's possible that Ray reveals his talent in chapter 4, and it's possible that people might see him as a traitor because of his talent of judgment. He probably doesn't. I feel like he's not gonna tell everyone about judgment, his judgment trait, other than the fact that they don't know what it is. He just knows that his talent is judgment, and he probably finds out in chapter 4 about it, and everyone else finds out about it, and they don't trust him, and it's possible he might become a victim because of that. I also put Takeshi, since he's the most tech savvy among all these people, so I feel like might become crucial at this moment. I feel like Momoka, since she's the opposite, since she's part of like a cult, I feel like she's completely opposed to technology, so she might like be opposed to Takeshi. They find like a laptop or something that's important, and then Momoka's like, that's evil, and then Takeshi's like, no, it's not evil, and such. And then so I also put Takeshi as a I didn't paste it. Takeshi as a killer just for Momoka though, and I might also do the same for Momoka under Takeshi. So Takeshi, well, I wouldn't say Takeshi. So if Momoka's the victim, the only killer I would see would be Takeshi. But if Takeshi is the victim, I wouldn't see only Momoka as a killer. It's possible that there's also these two that I'm gonna put in can also be the killer. I'll talk about more of that later. And I'm also gonna put Haru as the victim. He's not probably the most tech savvy, but I feel like he might be important at the time. They might, since he's the ultimate gardener, he might find like some herbs or whatever that might cure someone. Like say Toaru gets sick or whatever, and then Haru is just like trying to make medicine for it, or half the people got sick, like Aiko, Toaru, Natalie, Momoka get sick from some disease, and then Haru has to like heal them, and then Haru heals all of them, but he gets killed in the process or whatever. So I feel like he might be the victim in chapter 4. That's the kind of scenario I thought in my head. And as for the killer, I put someone that's gonna self-sacrifice themselves. Like in the previous games, Sakura, I think that was her name. Sakura sacrificed herself. She was technically the victim in the kill, but she sacrificed herself for her friends to like help escape and such. And then in the second game, Gundam sacrificed themselves so everyone can live, since they're all starving to death. And then third game, going to sacrifice himself to end everyone's suffering. So I feel like killer would be someone who like sacrificed themselves to like save everyone. So that's why I put Sari on here. She's the most likely to sacrifice herself, since she's probably the most normal being to do this. Same for Natalie's in the same boat as Sari for this kind of situation. I would put Haru as well, but since I am more pinned in on being a victim than a killer, I don't want to put him as part of this group just yet. But I doubt he's going to be a killer compared to being a victim. His chances of being a victim is way higher than him being a killer. So I would keep him as that. And so now for to decide which ones be a victim and which ones be a killer. So we already discussed in victims to be important at the time. So what's more likely to happen? Ray finding out about his talent and everyone else knowing about it. Takeshi and Momoka finding the laptop or whatever to like send help or whatever, and then Momoka just like blah 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 is like evil, and then or Haru curing the disease and then ending his demise. I wouldn't want to put one out first, and that would be Momoka. I'll completely eliminate that because that'd be kind of ridiculous, Momoka doing something like that. So that would immediately eliminate, oh my god, Takeshi from being the killer. So I'll leave 3 more. I feel like the most likely to happen would be Ray. However, I feel like even if they find out about him, I doubt they'll be able to find out that he's a traitor. Just because there's still the Aiko lying around. Since no one knows her talent, it's possible that instead of Ray finding out about his talent and such like that, and people turning against him, I feel like it might possibly that replace Ray. Oh, I didn't even show her. That it might be Aiko instead of Ray being one, so it's possible that she's the most likely to be a 4th victim compared to Ray. However, I don't see Ray as being able to die in the 4th chapter just because she's the ultimate question mark. I doubt that she would be among them, so I would take both of them out just by that. So I'll leave Haru and Takeshi. Based on what I'm thinking, I think the disease one's a little bit far-fetched. Just because I don't. Also, that if Haru is able to, if the disease thing actually does happen, I doubt Haru would be the one to die. I feel like someone else would die, but it'd be hard to choose which one. So I doubt Haru would be the one to die if the disease one actually happened. So I would eliminate him from being a potential victim as well. So that also leads to Takeshi. Although the chances of them finding a laptop and him dying are also small chances, I feel like that's the most likely thing to happen in chapter 4 just because of my technology theory that I mentioned earlier. So I think the 4th chapter victim is going to be Takeshi. If not, Breath technology might be something else. I feel like Takeshi will not survive till the end, so I will eliminate him at chapter 4. So for the killer, it's going to be probably a little bit simpler. It's the one that's most self-sacrifice since Takeshi is the victim. I feel like since the laptop theory is a little bit debunked and a little bit far-fetched, I would eliminate Momoka early on since I'm still hell-bent on the idea of the 4th chapter killer being self-sacrifice. I don't know why they would self-sacrifice themselves. I feel like if they self-sacrifice themselves, I feel like it would be more part of the disease ones, in case like they had to kill Haru to like stop the disease from spreading even more since he had the disease, and then they had the disease themselves and they pull like out a Kaito and like die during mid-execution. But I don't know if something like that would happen. So actually that's the most likely thing to happen, but since I kind of feel like that's a little bit out of my way for completely analyzing chapter 4, I don't think that's going to happen. Something else is going to be completely different, so I'm going to stick to the idea of them being the self-sacrifice no matter the situation. So it's really hard to choose which one's most likely to sacrifice themselves for everyone. Both of them probably would love all the other students. They probably like die for them, whatever, blah blah blah, all the cliche stuff. So it was really hard to choose. But if I were to put myself in the situation, if Saori were to choose between saving one like family member or friend or saving like the rest of these people, like for example, it's like if Momoka was her best friend, would she sacrifice her for everyone else, or would she save everyone else for Momoka? And same could go for Natalie. If they were best friends, would Natalie choose the many or the few? Same goes for Sayuri. And I would think Natalie would go for this. She would sacrifice the few to save the many. So she would kill Takeshi to save the many. So compared to Sayuri, I think Natalie would be the most likely best bet for something like that. So that was a bit confusing to talk about, but let's just say if Natalie were to sacrifice herself, she would kill Takeshi to save everyone else, blah blah blah. That's pretty much the basis of what I talked about, and that's what I think for the chapter 4 victim and killer. Takeshi, the ultimate memer, is the victim for chapter 4, and Natalie, the sheriff, is the killer for chapter 4, blah blah blah. And we move on to chapter 5. So chapter 5 is practically the last chapter that will involve any sort of killing as such, but it's gonna probably be maybe a bit confusing, the saddest trial according to recent sources. If you've seen the first Danaganronpa, it was like, it wasn't exactly sad, but it was really weird how, you know, freaking Naegi was convicted as the killer, and then in the second game it was really sad because of Nagito and Chiaki, and then the V3 with Kaito and freaking midget boy, whatever. It's really hard to think of his names from time to time. Okay, hold on, maybe his name is on here. Kokichi. Okay, I remember his name. Easy. And so chapter 5 is gonna be generally a confusing trial. We don't know what's gonna happen. It's anyone's game. Anyone can die. Even the main characters that I think could die. Anyone can die. Can you just skip back a position? Okay, so anyone's fair game. Anyone can die. Anyone can live. And this is the chapter. This is the chapter where we can find out who the traitor is, and essentially get closer and closer who the mastermind is. And it's chapter 6 where we start the final battle. But this is the final trial where there's gonna be a victim and a killer, essentially. And so we're gonna try to find out which one would be the victim and killer compared to the other trials, and blah 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 blah. So the victim in chapter 5 for each game, it was always related to the mastermind. So it might be, or traitor is kind of related to it. So in the first game, it was the, I don't remember her name. I think I just remember she was the ultimate military, kind of ultimate despair on Junko's sister. She was technically the victim for chapter 5, even though she technically wasn't. But let's just say she is. She's obviously related to the mastermind, being involved in everything. And then the second game, Nagito, he wasn't related to or anything to like the mastermind traitor, but he wanted the traitor to survive and such, so he tried to kill everyone for that. So he's kind of going down that road. And then in the V3, it was Kokichi, who claimed to be the mastermind, but in reality he wasn't, trying to lure out the actual mastermind and such. So I feel like the victim is someone closely related to the victim, or most likely to be the evil of Shigen Evil. And that will obviously put Aiko as number 1, since she's the most suspicious, being the ultimate question mark. I feel like she ultimately is the traitor in all this. I also want to put Momoka, because she's obviously sus since the very beginning. Her cultist, I feel like her occultist beliefs and such. Is she occultist or cultist? I think she's cultist. So let me see. Cultist, okay. I keep getting those mixed up, even though I know that there's a complete difference. So obviously her talent herself makes her really suspicious at this point in the game for being the mastermind related or being the traitor. I also want to put Gota, since he's also very mysterious, just like I also want to put Tuaru. They're all really suspicious people compared to Haru. I feel like I want to put Haru on there, but he's a cinnamon bun. I don't want to put him down. Ray, it's still possible, but I want to put him as potential killer. And the reason we're going over killer is because I wanted the killer to be closely related to the protagonist. Like in the first game, the killer was related to the protagonist being himself, Naegi, or Kirigiri, being the killer for chapter 5. They were both closely related. Oh, I didn't put chapter 5 or anything. I think I put like secrets. We'll put that. Secrets out. Yeah, easy. And so the killer for chapter 5 is closely related to the protagonists. In the first game, Naegi, Unagi, and Kirigiri. The second game, Chiaki, was very closely related to Hajime. In the third game, Kaito was also really close to freaking Kazuichi. I forgot. I keep forgetting everyone's name. Shuichi, there we go. I don't know what to say Kazuichi for. So technically they were all the closest people to Rei, so I don't know who would be the closest to Rei besides himself. And I'll also put Sayori. Sayori might be next best girl after freaking everyone else is gone. I also want to put Aiko, since she might also be very close, kind of like Palafu Kirigiri, and might even kill herself or whatever. Oh crap. So those are the two people. I'll leave Haru out for though. So that kind of essentially that Haru would make it to chapter 6 alive. It's possible he might be the mastermind, the killer, or a survivor. Oh, mastermind, traitor, or I don't know. I think chapter 5, I feel like the victim might be the traitor. That's why I feel like for this game that Guile might put the chapter 5 victim as being the traitor, so Haru is safe for now, either the mastermind or survivor, so kudos to him, hooray, confetti everywhere. So for the chapter 5 victim, we're going to find out which one's the traitor, and that's what I'm going to settle down for this. Space itself for OCD. So who's the most likely to be the traitor? I don't know about Aiko, just because I feel like it's possible that since she revealed her talents, probably in chapter 5 or chapter 4, that she wouldn't exactly be a traitor. I doubt the ultimate question mark of the series would be the traitor after all, so I want to eliminate her as a potential victim. Momoka, I wouldn't say she's possibly... I think she's obviously mastermind or traitor related, but I don't know if she would be the actual traitor, just because it'd be a little bit too sus. I feel like she's a lot more than that, so I want to eliminate her. And then, so that just leaves Gota and Toaru. They're practically one and the same. We don't know much about either of them, so we don't know which one could be the traitor and which one isn't. So I'm gonna leave them out for now and try to find out. Oh crap, what I do? Whatever. And try to find out the killer. So obviously these three are closely related to protagonist Kun, Ray Meister over here. So we don't know which one would be killer. I don't know if Ray would actually kill the traitor. I feel like since he's like the ultimate judgment or whatever, although, because in my mind I feel like the judgment is someone who like passes judgment on the bad people. So I feel like it's still possible for Ray to, you know, pass judgment and bam, bam, kill the traitor or whatever, or whoever believes to be the traitor. So that's a possible situation, although I also want to put Sayuri just because, you know, self-sacrifice. She probably is close to Ray now by now, and her cheering up, it's gonna be one sad trial when Ray finds out that best girl Sayuri at the moment is just like, oh, I'm sorry I had to kill her, and then blah blah blah, and then everyone cries, I cry, Ray cries, maybe Aiko sheds a tear and whatnot because she couldn't stop it or whatever. So I feel like Sayuri's being the killer would be the saddest, so that's why I put her on here. And then Aiko, just her making it this far because of her question mark talents could essentially make her a killer and die at the end. I doubt she'd be the mastermind, so either it's possible that she would be the chapter 5 killer or she would survive at the end. So I had to weigh out these options and choose between those. So what spoke out to me the most? I doubt Ray would die in chapter 5. I feel like he's not that type of person. Ray is a lot better than that. It's kind of a little biased, but I don't see Ray dying in chapter 5. I believe that the protagonist will survive in this killing game. It's not really Sayuri and Aiko. So I don't know if Aiko would actually die in chapter 5 just because she made it this far, and well, I remember in her bio she says she wouldn't stop until like the mastermind is dead. So I don't know if she's like, I doubt she's the mastermind or whatever, so I feel like it's possible that she most likely be the chapter 5 killer just because she wants to like kill them, whoever's behind this, and so killing the traitor would essentially make her wish come true. And then again, I also want to think about the saddest trial. The 5th trial has to be the saddest, you know? They had to be the very brink of changing the protagonist, whatever. And I think Aiko's death, oh my god, Aiko, I can't speak. Oh my god. Aiko's death would impact Ray less than Sayuri, so it was a little bit tough. Honestly, I can go either way, but honestly, either one could be it. You can go either way. If Aiko was dead, then if Aiko was the killer, then Sayuri would survive until the end, but if Sayuri is the killer, then Aiko would survive till the end. But for this one, I'll put Aiko as eliminated from possible suspects, and I'll put Sayuri as the killer for chapter 5. So that would leave these two. Again, another hard decision just as much as this, so we don't know which one to choose. So how else are we supposed to play this out? Since I don't know much about Gota or Toaru, I gotta see which one's more likely to be a possible traitor, and I feel like I don't know. They're one and the same. I feel like they can both go either way. Same as Sari and Aiko could both be the killer or survivor. I feel like these can also be a traitor and survivor. Actually, I don't know which, if one of them is gonna be survive until the end or not, but I feel like one of them. I don't know. I've always had this debate for a long time. I still haven't even crossed it out. So if I were to choose one between who I want survive until the end, honestly, I don't think Toaru will survive in the end. Just to, oh wait, that goes over here. My bad. Because I feel like Toaru might be the victim here. I feel like he's the most likely traitor among the group, just because he's the most suspicious. There's also a little bit theory I've been having that in the bio he says he's always talking to his friends, whatever. Let's see if I can bring that up. Is he up here? He's down here. Yeah, so right here it says he spends much time with his own creations perfectly without anyone around him. The way he interacted with them, it was like they're actually alive. So I feel like it's possible he might be talking to the mastermind, feeding them information, although that might be a little bit too obvious, but that's also a possibility on my part that the stuffed animals or whatever are actually little mini Monokumas walking around and such. And I feel like it's possible he's also in the mastermind, but I think he's just a simple traitor and such. I doubt he'd be the mastermind behind all this, so I'm gonna pin him as the traitor and the victim of Chapter 5 with Sari as the Chapter 5 killer. That was a lot harder to explain that. Alright, on to the final Chapter 6, the end of Heaven of Despair. And so, Chapter 6, Final Battle. In where we find out who the mastermind is and how blah 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 blah. But how will this sort of thing kind of work? So in the mastermind final fight, I don't know, in the other games they just did a retrial of something that happened in the past. The first game they redid the trial, the Chapter 5, and then in the third game they redid the trial in the first trial, whatever. I don't know what they did a retrial in the second game, but they're probably, I feel like they might do a retrial of something. I don't know what's the most unfair one in the game. They all feel like the same to me, honestly. I don't know what could be unfair, but I feel like they can do a trial about something interesting. So they do the final battle, they fight, and then boom, they go into the middle trial and find out someone is the mastermind. But who is it gonna be? Any one of these people can be the mastermind. Anyone can be sus. So let's try to do I cannot speak. What is it called? Trials by elimination, whatever it was called, elimination. And I don't know, I don't want shapes. I'm just gonna drag them up here to see who the mastermind is. And so who would least likely be not the mastermind? Oh my god, I cannot speak. I don't know if Ray is gonna be the mastermind, so I'll put him over here on the scale of mastermind to not mastermind. Well, I'll put Ray over here since I doubt Ray being a mastermind, although that'd be kind of cool. Since he's a judgment, he's like passing judgment on these ungrateful brats who like take their talent for granted and be like, oh, I'm the mastermind, woo woo, and then you guys are like, I must kill all that do this, you know, suffer, spread despair, blah blah blah. But since he's the judgment, he's kind of like the police, spread hope to everyone. Boom. He's the ultimate hope just by that. Easy. So on this scale, who would I put as the most mastermind and the least mastermind? Let's start with Haru. Honestly, I want to put him over here just because personality, but I also want to put him over here just because we don't know him a lot. And I feel like his kind of face right here might like turn evil and might turn like ultimate despair easily because of the hair. Honestly, he's got that Nagito hair, honestly. So appearance aware, I might put him over here. Personality wise, I want to put him here. So I might want to put him in the middle as a bit intermediate wise. What did I even put the note as the mastermind, honestly? Well, actually, it's kind of weird because apparently I put Gota as the traitor. That's kind of weird. Toaru dies in Chapter 5, but then Gota is actually the traitor all along. That's what my notes say. I don't remember putting that. Yeah, I wrote these notes like half a year ago. So I'm guessing I was back in my prime half a year ago, but now I'm just very old and don't remember anything. So it's possible that this chapter 6 final battle has something to do with the traitor turning their back on the possible mastermind that's one of these people. So I feel like Goto would wind up over here as a possible mastermind, since I feel like he's the overall traitor and finds out like the mastermind's evil, whatever, blah blah blah, and then just like turns his back on Yota and might possibly even like kill them or whatever. But Gota is just like, I don't want that, and then boom, the trial. He might actually die in the trial, and then the trial is just like about him, and then they discover the mastermind. I'll keep him as alive just because I said so. And so that would leave Aiko Momoka, who will most likely be the mastermind. Because I don't know about Haru, but I might want to put him more over here, just because compared to these two, I feel like Haru is less of a mastermind kind of guy, you know? And so, it's really hard to choose one of them, actually. Honestly, it's possible that Gota even dies. I don't know if he'll even survive the chapter 6. He might either die along in the final battle in chapter 6 execution, or he becomes the victim for the chapter 6, so it's possible that he might die. So I'll put him a little bit down here on death count or whatever. I don't know why I put him down there, but whatever. So, well, let's start with Aiko. I don't know. We don't know her talent, so it's hard to choose whether she be a mastermind or not. That'd be pretty interesting, so I kind of put her around here. And along with Momoka. Okay, so we're back at square one. So I'll just put these three as non-masterminds, and we're just trying to find out who the mastermind is, because we can assume that these three will possibly survive until the end, although I want to put Goto a little bit down here, so I'll put these two people as confirmed survivors. Where's that? I lost the text box. Okay, so survivors. So these are confirmed survivors in my... Oh, God. So these are confirmed survivors right here. And that's what I put. And so he's less likely to survive. I'll put him down there. Maybe I'll give him like a 50% chance of survival. How do I make that bigger? It's a lot harder than I thought it'd be. So he has a 50% chance of survival. So we'll just leave that at that. And so this is practically the same thing as this. 50% of Aiko being the mastermind, and 50% being Momoka. But if I were to choose based off the knowledge I would want, I would do this. Oh, Momoka is the overall mastermind of the killing game. Okay, make that a little larger so no one can see that, because no one cares. Oh, a little too big. Boom. Momoka, mastermind. Survivors. Boom. 50% survival rate. Gota. This is my thumbnail. Bet. Nah, I don't know. So, what's the situation here? How am I supposed to explain this? Because this was half a year ago and I do not remember much about the final trial. Let's see what the last notes I have. Let's read this side. Alright, so let's see. Ray and Co. finally discovered that may expose Simon Kuma. Alright, so I did write something about this. Alright, the final trial would be about what exactly? All previous ones reviews a previous trial or an unfair inconvenience that just took place. Unfair trials might be the first trial or the fifth trial, which includes the possible deaths of Kisumi, Yumi, Toaru, and Sayori. Or Ray and Co. finally discover that may expose Simon Kuma and help them escape. It is then that a final class trial begins. Whatever happens in between relies on the attitude of the remaining students. Yeah, I do not remember writing any of this. What the heck? They find out the mastermind is Mocha. Okay. Leaving the remaining students to victory and surviving. In a strange event, the survivors would be Ray, Aiko, Haru, and 17th student, if there was a 17th student. Gota would be a potential one, but his chance of survival is pretty slim. since he's a traitor. Okay, so that's a weird way of putting it. In the normal procedure, the only survivors would be Rei, Aiko, and Haru, with a potential survival rate for Momoka and Gota. Alright, so it's possible that since Gota's the mastermind, not Gota, Momoka's the mastermind, it's possible that she might survive. They might leave her alive or maybe change her ways, but I doubt she would possibly live since she's the mastermind. So I'll eliminate her as a potential survivor. And then Gota would be that 50%, but in my normal procedure, I would eliminate him. It's possible that he might die for the chapter 6, or he dies with the mastermind, or the mastermind kills him mid-trial, which would be pretty interesting, so I'll eliminate them. So the few remaining people that would survive would be Aiko, Haru, and Rei as the remaining survivors. And that, my friends, is my killing predictions for Danaganronpa Heaven of Despair. And so yeah, that's pretty much the basis of this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll be uploading more. I don't know if I'll upload more about Heaven of Despair. Probably if there's more development, like Guile releases a trailer, I can probably like talk about it more. Maybe upgrade my predictions a little bit in the past, since I have I wrote down like a bunch of different ways. Like throughout half the year, I have over like 200 different ways this killing game can end in Heaven of Despair, because I got super bored throughout semester and just started thinking of different ways, which is really complicated, a lot of wasted time, but you know, it helps get the fact out there. If you want the other 200 ways this killing game can end, I can show you guys in a different time, so we can do that in the future. So this will probably be it for Heaven of Despair at the moment until further notice. I'll be talking more about other stuff probably in the future, and more Fangan. So but this is basically it for Heaven of Despair. So Guile, keep up the good work. If you're watching this, you probably will, so hello. And then once you get more development, I'll come back, but I'll be focusing on other Fangans for videos in the future, but I'll definitely still be up to date on the Discord and Tumblr and Twitter. So yeah, if you guys also have your own, feel free to share. I'll be willing to do videos. I'll be able to get my own analysis and such, as long as you have enough development for me to get enough information and blah blah, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Whoa. Oh wait, I was supposed to do my actual closer. What was my actual closer? I forgot. Oh, okay. Until then, I bid you duds farewell.